I'm Ted Keys in Pasadena, California. Welcome to my Tuesday conference call, a free high-powered meeting I hold live every Tuesday for top producing freight agents. Go to tedkeysonline.com for complete call information. Then join us weekly to see new, serious, struggling, and experienced sales professionals move more freight efficiently, effectively, effortlessly, and make more money financially. So watch my recorded call topic highlighted there on your screen right now. When you're finished, go to tedkeysonline.com and hear more podcasts. Read more blog posts, watch more videos, and while you're there, visit my Freight Sales Success Store for top-notch freight moving products to explode your business today. Enjoy watching and applying my Tuesday conference call.
Hello and welcome again, everybody, to my Tuesday conference call, where every Tuesday, right on the dot, I teach you, show you how to move more freight, move it more effectively, move it more efficiently, and move it more correctly. The topic of my call today is handling objections that get you to the sale. Handling objections that get you to the sale. Everybody go to your email that I sent out beforehand and follow along with those attachments that I send every single week, and you'll see how you will become more effective handling objections that get you to the sale. The first thing I want to, again, draw attention to is our Green Meadows Productions Agent Leaderboard. If there's one thing that'll, if you have any desire to compete, certainly in this industry, but compete with the agents of our group here, that would be to get on this leaderboard here. Go ahead and take a look at that and make it a goal to, become one of the leaders, if not a leader, in every single category on this board here. Before I talk about handling objections, I want to visit a topic. I don't know if many other trainers visit this. Obviously, it's something I'm going to throw it in. But the second attachment there, the name of it is 7 tips to avoid gaining weight while sitting at a desk all day long. Let's face it, we all sit at a desk all day long in this profession. It's just one of the things we do. But I'm going to give you 7 tips to avoid gaining weight while you're sitting at your desk all day long. Let me read on here. As technology takes an ever-increasing role in work, so does the amount of time workers as ourselves, producers as ourselves, sit at our desks. Long periods of sitting not only lead to weight gain, but also health risks. The increase in sedentary jobs has accelerated our obesity rate. And that's not just here in the U.S., it's worldwide. And that in turn increases one's risk of diabetes, hypertension, and a whole other host of diseases. And what does that do? This leads to an increase in healthcare costs and days lost to illness. Now, I do not pay for illness, but I will say this: if you become ill, unfortunately, that's something that's going to affect you. So what will you do? You're going to focus on how to not become ill. However, there are actions you can take to ward off desk weight job gain and corresponding other health risks. Let's talk about these 7 tips that I got here for you. Here's the first one, and that is move every 60 to 90 minutes. Move every 60 to 90 minutes. Here's my explanation. There are online countdown timers that you can set to go off as a reminder to get up and move. Movement can vary from a few minutes of stretching or yoga, taking a short walk around your office, or going up and down a flight of stairs. Whatever you come up with, just get up and move every 60 to 90 minutes. Number 2, take advantage of options to move more. Here's a couple examples. Park your car away from your destination and walk to your office. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. That's one thing that I do as much as I can. Pack your lunch and walk to a local park or other location to eat. So basically, number 2, take advantage of options to move more. Number 3, drink fewer calories. Drink fewer calories. Research shows caffeine from soda, coffee, and tea can offer a pick-me-up when energy is draining. But avoid fancy drinks with lots of calories and sugar. Whenever possible, drink water. If you want the fizz of soda, drink seltzer water. Just an example of what I do every morning. Every morning I put 4 bottles of water on my desk. What do? I drink these 4 bottles of water throughout the day. Here's the reason why. First of all, water is a cleansing agent. It is always cleansing out your system. In the past several years, you've heard it said, drink more water. Well, that's one of the reasons why. It's a cleansing agent. Here's another thing that it does. It forces me to get up and walk to the bathroom. So, just if there's one thing that I could suggest that I'm familiar with is every morning put 4 bottles of water. And again, I'm talking the 16.9-ounce bottles from Dasani or Nestle, or, I drink Dasani. It's a purified water. But do that. That'll get you up, and moving. And it'll also clear out and cleanse your system. Number 4, pack your lunch daily. Buying lunch from restaurants or vending machines speeds up weight gain in a sedentary life. These meals are usually packed with fats, processed ingredients, and sugars. Instead, bring healthy lunches that have lean protein, healthy carbs, and fruits and vegetables. Not only will you save on calories, but you'll be giving your body nutrients it needs, and in the process, saving money. The 5th one is avoid vending machines and unhealthy snacks. Bring nuts or fruit instead of grabbing a candy bar or chips. Number 6, dump technology whenever possible. Do not text or email people in the next cubicle or office. Instead, get up and go see them in person if you have that type of setup. Hey, what do I keep preaching? Connecting, building relationships. Number 7, if this is possible, if you want a desk that's a little higher, stand while you work. Many offices now offer adjustable desks that allow you to stand instead of sit. Poor work habits not only impact personnel health, but business health as well. However, a few tweaks at work can help you avoid desk weight gain and health issues. Just so you know, I just took a swig of water. I'm working on my 4th bottle of water today. Okay, so 7 tips. As usual, print this out, put it on your office wall somewhere so you can see it and read it. Don't think, hey, Ted just went over this, I'm going to remember this. Well, believe me, you won't if you don't do something about it. Moving on, let's talk about our main topic today, and that is steps to handling objections that will get you to the sale. Now, I'm going to start off with a little quote here, and that is this. If you really put a small value upon yourself, rest assured the world will not raise your price. Unfortunately, this was written by somebody that we are unaware of, but you can imagine or comprehend what it says, and that is, hey, if we put a small value on ourselves, the world is not going to come around and say, oh, come on, Ted, come on, Bill, come on, Ash, you're worth more than that. No, if anything, the world is going to beat you down to even lower than what you think of yourself. So if you put a small value on yourself, the world will not raise your price. What does that mean? Well, how many of us have heard from our prospects and customers these lines? Your rates are too high, or I get a much better rate or lower rate, or I don't see why I have to pay all that money to move this load. And you're going to look at that and say, I don't see why they have to pay me that money to move this load. I mean, if you put a small value on yourself, unfortunately, that's what you're going to be thinking. More important, How many freight agents resist the urge to lower their rates to get their initial loads? Now, initially, this is acceptable. This is totally acceptable initially. In fact, when you start in my training program, when you're out there using my guidelines for quoting freight rates, I typically will quote your prospect a low rate, because to get into a customer, that's what they're usually looking for. They're typically looking for your rate. Once you start moving a few loads, then they'll consider the service that you're actually providing. But how many of us freight agents resist the urge to lower our rates to get their loads when we've been doing it for a while? Well, here's the answer. It's all of us and few of us. The problem with lowering our rates for a particular freight load is that we have forever established our value as that lower amount. As our anonymous friend said above or earlier in my call here, if we put a low value on our own work, certainly no one else is going to suggest that our value is any higher. So, why do so many of us fall victim to these worst tendencies? Well, to answer this, we first have to look at objections in general and how they fit into the selling process for our freight services. So we call in a prospect and we hear this line, I object. Let me say it again, I object. Typically they don't say that. They will say it in a different way, but when they're resisting our desire to get in and move their and provide the service to move their freight, that's what they're doing. They're objecting. And most freight agents see objections as a sign of rejection or a call to do battle. With this attitude, it's no wonder we usually handle price objections poorly. However, when we break it down, you'll see that objections can be overcome without a battle. So, what is an objection, actually? An objection is an explicit expression from a shipping decision maker that a barrier exists between the current situation, i.e., you're attempting to quote your rate or you're attempting to activate their business, and what he or she requires to engage your freight services. That is what an objection is. Basically, it's a barrier. That's all it is. It's a barrier. It comes in many forms, shapes, or sizes. But either way, it's a clear signal that you have more to do in the selling process. Now, earlier, Ash explained that he's been with us for 3 months. And after 3 months, as I said, he's bringing in a new customer credit app every 2 or 3 days. Well, there's a reason for that. One of the reasons is that Ash has overcome the initial barriers to secure his customer's business. Let me say it again. For these credit apps that are being sent to me, Ash is overcoming the initial barriers to acquire his customer's business. What are the barriers? They come in many shapes and sizes. But here's your initial objective from the get-go, and that's to overcome all objections and make advances toward gaining a commitment from your prospect with the following principles in mind. This is your objective, to overcome objections. This is your objective, to overcome objections. Objections. Number 1, the close of the sale actually begins the relationship. Now, I keep telling you all the time to build relationships. Actually, your relationship does not start until you actually close a sale. What do we do in closing a sale? We actually move our customer's first freight load. That's when your relationship begins. I mean, if you keep calling, you keep emailing, well, all right, you're communicating, but your relationship has not started until you actually provide the service. So the close of the sale begins the relationship. And in a typical sale of our kind, freight agents are typically taught to overcome objections at all costs. This does not work for more complex sales, however. If you just plow through the objection without addressing it fully, the underlying reason for the objection will usually come back to haunt you. Remember, you have to work with these shipping decision makers once you're finished moving your first load. So basically, the first point is the close of the sale begins your relationship. Number 2, believe it or not, objections have merit. Objections have value. There's something very good in objections. We tend to think of them as something negative, but actually they have merit, they have value. Most sales training teaches us to rebut objections, to counter them with logic, arguments, or sheer willpower. But objections are often a sign that something else is going on here. What is it? What else is going on here that this objection is occurring? Well, your main purpose is to understand the objection fully, whatever it is, to isolate it and to respond to it appropriately. How do you do that? Well, it depends on what the objection is. That's why I'm always preaching to listen, 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 listen. If you're talking and gabbing and giving all this, making all this noise, you are not learning out what the objection is. And really, what's the best way of finding out what it is? By asking, what is going on here? Why am I not able to move your freight? What is the main issue here? What is keeping me from moving your freight, sir? Number 3, the most important thing about handling objections is objections take a process and aren't typically a quick answer to overcome. Hence, as I said earlier, Ash was explaining that he came into the industry not knowing anything, and after 3 months he's doing great. Well, objections are not something we typically overcome right away. It takes time. And it typically takes time with every single prospect we come across. Complex sales involve many buyers and buying criteria. Now, to me, our sales process is not that complicated. But you may have to build a case for overcoming an objection instead of answering quickly on the fly when you get your objections. Again, sometimes it takes time to overcome these things. Some objections, on the other hand, may simply be questions that have yet not to be answered. Keyword, they're not answered. And how do you find out what it is? By asking and listening. So, 3 simple, bear with me, folks, 3 simple steps to handling objections that will get you closer to the sale. Okay, let's move on and let's go over a couple short sales notes here, and that is opening your 4th attachment. Remember, when you're calling your prospects and customers, in reference to handling objections, don't figure out the best time to call. Don't think that, gee, it's better to call here, it's better to call there, it's better to call before lunch, after lunch. Here's what you do. You get on the phone now or you won't reach anybody. So don't attempt to figure out the best time to call. Get on the phone now or you won't reach anybody. Simple enough? All right. Moving on. Let's open that next attachment here. And that is, remember, again, when you're calling your prospects and customers, don't prepare for a call thinking about a particular commodity or freight lane. One more time. In red, don't prepare for a call thinking about a particular commodity or freight lane, especially when you go into your first call. Determine what your prospect requires and offer them solutions. Are you able to do that right away? Yes, no, maybe, sometimes. But here's the thing. If you don't do it, it won't happen. So don't go into a call thinking that they're going to give you a particular commodity or freight lane. You don't want to focus on that. The focus is on providing solutions that you offer. That's the main thing that we offer. We offer solutions. That's the thing that you focus on. Next point on our sales calls. Remember, when calling your prospects and customers, to make the sale easier, establish rapport first. If you establish rapport first, you're going to get less objections. If you just go into a call and spew out your verbal diarrhea, you're going to get objections left and right. But if you establish rapport first, it's going to make the process easier. Find common interests and build your relationship. Again, remember, your relationship starts when you move your first load, as I said earlier. So find common interests and build a relationship so your relationship is built even quicker. People are more likely to buy from a friend than a salesperson. And that's the last thing we want to come off as when we call, and that's a salesperson. So, one more time, make the sale easier, establish rapport first, find common interests, and build a relationship. People are more likely to buy from a friend than a salesperson. Last point to remember in our connecting and building relationships, when you open up that last attachment there, remember, when calling your prospects and customers, when calling prospects with a difficult name, tell the gatekeeper, I'm looking for Ted. Say I'm calling for Ted Keys. Tell the gatekeeper I'm looking for Ted. His last name is, I believe it's spelled K-E-Y, even though Ted Keys is pretty easy. But if you know the if you know the shipping decision maker's name, or again, we're dealing with a difficult name here. I'm looking for Ted. His last name is K-E-Y. Once you start spelling a name like that, they'll pronounce the correct name for you. Again, this isn't a situation where you've got a decision maker's name. It could be a challenging name. It could be a customer that I've given you because you've been moving several loads. And as I've said many times, when you start moving freight with me, I happily assist you with more customers to move. Are these customers something that you should rest on? No. But you may get a customer name that is difficult to pronounce. Well, say the customer's name is Ted Keys. You're going to call that customer and talk to the gatekeeper. And again, you're doing this to get the proper spelling or the proper pronunciation of your decision maker's name. That's why you're doing this. So, when you tell the gatekeeper, hey, I'm looking for Ted, his last name is K-E-Y, that gatekeeper is going to pronounce the correct name right there for you. That's what you do when you're calling prospects with a difficult name. You've got the prospect's name right in front of you. Boy, I hope I didn't botch that up too much. Bear with me. Okay, that concludes our call for today. Handling objections that will get you closer to the sale. If you have any questions about this topic, any questions about our freight training program, any questions about joining our team, any questions in general, you can reach me at our office here. That's Ted Keys at 626-309-9141. For those of you that are with us, if you have any questions about our top-notch LDI freight system, those are questions from Maria and Marilyn at the same number, 626-309-9141. Again, any questions for me involving this topic or any other questions involving selling and moving freight in general, that would be me, Ted Keys, 626-309-9141. Guys, again, it's been a pleasure speaking to all of you. I wish you the best. I wish you the best of God's blessings as you pick up the phone, connect, collaborate, and build your relationships.
You've just taken a tremendous step forward by watching and applying my Tuesday conference call highlight. Do you desire to earn and learn with our top freight team and Christian-based office? Yes? We're searching for a self-starter who's serious, motivated, and ready to take action right now. Is that you? Go to tedkeysonline.com/contacts and enter your contact details. We provide top-notch freight agent sales training to you. Then you deliver those same skills with confidence to the freight industry marketplace. I'll talk to you soon.